I'm back with you guys with some extremely frugal meals. Hi, I am Mama Bear to Many. I am mom to 15 children. Yes, 15 children. And 13 of those children live at home with me and my husband. And we have a smaller budget for groceries. But really, I just want to bless you guys with some of our cheaper style meals that you guys might be able to use to stretch your normal budget. So yes, this week I'm doing an extreme budget challenge for myself. We are trying to save money for 2 vacations and a house. Not big vacations like camping type vacations, but they're big to us. They're special to us. And we're also trying to save for a down payment on a house. Woof. So we are doing some extreme things over the next month or a couple months, trying to figure out all these things. Now, I'm going to share this with you. We do not eat like this on a consistent basis, but a lot of these meals in the beginning of our marriage we did. But some of these meals are packed with nutrition. And I think sometimes when we are really in an area in our lives that we need to save, then we try to eat the best we can in the budget that God gave us. And that's what we're going to be doing this week with this food. So let me share this with you. Alrighty. We have 4 boxes of this chickpea pasta. I got all of this stuff pictured. I got at Aldi. So then I got 2 things of onions. And we got 2 of these pork loins. Great Northern beans. Pinto beans, black beans, 2 corn tortillas, 3 spaghetti sauces, 4 garden salad. And we have these peppers. These ones actually, if this is the same price as the big ones, you end up getting more peppers off the small ones than the big ones I found. Then we got 4 of these cheddar cheeses. My son was trying to help me out by writing on there how much they were. So we got 4 of those. Then we got 1 thing of butter, a gallon of whole milk, 10 pounds of russet potatoes. We got this ground beef here and jasmine rice. And then 2 things of these mixed vegetables. So this right here was $75, and then I'm adding 2 more things from my grocery haul at Walmart, and that is going to be, it was actually $75.38. I'm going to add 2 more things, and that's going to be coconut aminos and sesame seed oil, and those 2 are going to be added to these for this week. So if you don't already have those items, then make sure you pick those ones up. Those are usually items that I have on hand. So I'm going to be doing these meals. I'm going to assume that you have some spices in your pantry, cabinet, whatever. I'm also going to assume that you have some sort of cooking oil. If you don't, then you'll have to, excuse me, add that to your budget. Okay guys, here's for the extreme week. So she is going to be cutting this ham into tiny pieces and separating it into 3 different bags that she has sitting over here. Good morning guys. It is another week of extremely frugal budget for my family of 15. I am going to be using the shopping, which I will include here, and we are going to be making meals for the whole week for supper for my family of 15 for under $100 for the whole week. That is over 100 servings for my family. So let's do this. Let's see what we have. Okay guys, we are going to take 1 of those bags of ham that my daughter chopped all up. So that is quite a bit. It's probably like 2 pounds or so of ham. And then I'm gonna take some garlic. My daughter already cut up an onion in here. I'm gonna plug this in. Okay guys, so I am gonna add quite a bit of garlic. So this is just garlic and oil. I grew the garlic last year in our garden and put oil in it, and I'm still using it. That's a lot. That's probably like 3/4 cup of garlic because that's how we like it. I am going to turn this on, just saute for a moment. And I'm going to add the pork. I don't even know if I want to do this whole amount of pork. I don't think I do. I'm just going to add this much. Look how much I'm leaving. I'm going to leave this for another meal. This is plenty. So I'm just going to grab this in there. Let me grab a spoon. I asked my daughter if she would cut the pork up and just put it in equal portions so that I could make various meals, and she said sure. But yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot more than I was kind of expecting from those pork roasts, so I'm glad for that. So we're just going to cook this up for a couple minutes. Okay, so I'm actually going to add my seasonings in here before this. Okay, I'm going to add my seasonings in here before this actually cooks up. So I'm just going to add a little bit of red pepper flakes, maybe like a teaspoon or so. I'm also going to add to that, I just bought a new pepper. Yay. Glad for that. I had been missing out. Went to the Aldi and they didn't have any pepper there. So I ended up buying some from Walmart the other day, which was lovely. No, not Walmart, Sam's Club. So now I'm going to add some pepper in there. If I can open it. And then some salt. You really want salt. Salt is like the backbone to this. And then I'm gonna add a tidbit of chili powder. Maybe that much. All right, let's mix this up. So really what I'm doing here is just kind of getting all the flavors out. The meat does not have to cook all the way. Actually, it's better if it doesn't cook all the way. I'm just trying to get some of the seasonings all in there. So maybe just like 5 minutes like this. I wasn't videoing that. I added a whole bag of the Great Northern beans. And then I added 1 cup of the black beans. I'm gonna add a little bit more. Maybe like 1/3 of the bag of the Great Northern beans. I'm just trying to get all the seasoning that's in here around on all of that. So now you can either use chicken broth, you could use beef broth, or you could use pork broth. What I do is I make pork broth from a bone. So say I had a ham for Christmas or Easter or whatever, I had a ham. And so I would take the bone and I would just boil that down and make broth with just leftover like tidbits. So like the ends of carrots. After a holiday meal is a great time to do that because then you have all those little tidbits from the holiday meal. I'll just take those, throw those in a freezer bag, and then grab that out, put it in with my bone, and cook that down for like 48 hours or longer. And then that makes broth. So now I have actually canned some pork broth that I did that with. You do not have to do that. You could add water to this spot and add bouillon. You could add whatever you wanted to. You could just add water and it would be fine. I am adding broth because I have it and it's pretty much free to me and adds so much nutrition to this dish. Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to use 2 or 3 of these. It has fat on the top and this one looks a little bit green. It's not green from green. I end up adding lots of kale and stems and stuff from the garden into my broths, so they end up turning green on top. I would know if they were moldy. It's just totally different. So 1, probably gonna do all 3. 2, yeah, I will. And 3. Didn't hit my fill line yet. Let me see where it is. There we go. So see that here? So I'm going to fill the rest of that. You can also put other things in here like carrots and celery. If you wanted to, you could add potatoes as well. I am just going to Maybe I will add potatoes. Let's add some potatoes now. I'm gonna chop up 4 potatoes. My sweet daughter ended up cutting some potatoes for me. So there were 6 smaller potatoes. I'm gonna add those in here. I might need to take a little bit of this broth off. I don't know, let's see. We might push it to its max. And is it past its max? I don't know, where is it? Okay, I'm gonna turn the top on. Yes, this is duct tape. It works fine. The handle just broke. So I am going to turn this on by doing pressure cook. And we are gonna go all the way up to 55 minutes. There we go, and we're just gonna let that cook. So here is just the beans, and you can see the pieces of pork in there, and then, so that was lunch. You can also have bread and butter. My daughter ended up making corn muffins, which was not part of my plan, but life really happened. She did that because it was something she could do independently. So for this recipe, I am going to take some onion that my daughter just did. I am actually using half of this onion for today and then half of it for tomorrow's meal. So the meal that I'm doing today is pork fried rice. I am going to be taking this onion and doing, it's about 2 onions here. I just had her chop it like all together. So 2 onions in here. I'm going to add some oil as well. I like coconut oil. You could also add some butter. You could add any type of oil that you want. Let's pretend that I didn't just do that, because what I am doing is going to use my sesame oil, not coconut oil, although I started and I put a small plop of coconut oil in there. Anyway, sesame oil. You really can use anything. Sesame oil just adds a nice little flavor. Alrighty, now I'm gonna add the pork in. Actually, this is not even a separate bag. This is just a bag that was left over from yesterday's meal, because I think this is gonna be plenty for this as well. I'm gonna have extras at the end of this week. Or I might just add it in with other things. And now I'm adding some garlic to this as well. You know I love my garlic, guys. So there's my garlic for, scrape it, scrape it. There's my garlic for that. I'm gonna turn this on. Alrighty, so that is that. I just added 3 bags of my mixed veggies on here. So what I'm gonna do is just take this, mix this up and cook this. Oops, wrong way. And then I'll add my rice on this. So we are just going to, you could also make this in the Instapot as well. You would just saute this like this in the pot, and then you would, or saute it in the Instapot, and then you would do the rest of the things and then turn the pressure on for the rice. I'm just trying to give you options for both, for all things, so that you know that you can cook in different ways. Add a little bit more oil. Can add a smidge of red pepper flakes, just a smidge. I'm gonna add some salt. And some pepper. All right, and I'm gonna add some soy sauce. Probably about half the bottle. Then I'm going to mix this all in. Now, you can also make this with, a little bit more. make this with old rice, and then you would just cook this down and add the old rice in. I'm just gonna make rice right in here. So I'm going to add to this 1 can of chicken broth. I'm going to cover this and let it cook for a minute. I think it's done. Okay, I just turned that down. It is way steamy. Looks good. We're going to add rice to it now. I'm going to add 4 cups of it. All right. 2. Do 3.5 cups of rice. I have the whole package. I just don't feel like going to get it, to be honest. I'll refill that for another meal. All right, and then I'm gonna mix this up. Put my holder here. There we go. And then I am going to add another broth. Right, so I'm going to add 1 more broth. And then I'm going to add some water, like another quart of water. Then I'm going to stir it 1 more time and put the lid on it. There we go. Let's put the lid on that. And let it cook. My pot holder. Look at that. Yummy. I'll balance my lid. Hold on. This will absorb in just a second. There we go. I'm gonna cover it back over. You've got the meat in there, you have the lovely broth in there, you have rice, all those veggies in there. Yum. Beautiful. Okay, we are going to make some ham and potato soup. So what I'm going to do, I do this different every time. I have a recipe like on here that I've done with it, but let's make. Alrighty, I am going to throw a stick of butter in here. And then I'm gonna throw a whole bag that my daughter, so I had 3 of these bags. I've only used 1 because I used half on the first day, half on the second day, and now 1 of these bags today. So I still have 1 whole bag left. And then I'm gonna add onions, that's 2 onions. Then potatoes, she did 10 potatoes. And then I'm gonna add some seasonings. So I think today I'll do pepper. I'm gonna do quite a bit of pepper because that's just gonna be my base. My base is just gonna be salt and pepper. And salt, and then I'm just going to do a tidbit of red pepper flakes, and that's going to be it. That's all I'm using for seasoning, but I used a lot of it to make it flavorful. So let me get a spoon. That's not a spoon. just gonna put my stick of butter kind of right in the middle and turn this up a little bit. So I could just do this. I have 1 bag of these. I'm gonna throw those in there. And then I have 1 of those. So we just are throwing the extra veggies in there to, yeah, just add flavor, add it all to it. I might actually add, I think I'm gonna add 1 more stick of butter. I know I'm getting indulgent with this butter, but I don't know. Creamy soups with butter to me taste so much better than coconut oil. It's just like, I don't know. You can use either. You can use any kind of oil that you have, but I'm adding butter because I'm feeling in a buttery kind of mood. I did also have a stick and a half of butter left from last week. All right, I am going to let that cook for a minute. Doesn't that look so good? It smells so good, guys. Yes, it smells delicious. So obviously the meat is not done in here, but I'm going to add 1 cup of flour. And then I'm going to mix that in. There we go. Then I'm going to add my broth to that. Stir it in and just kind of push it down. All right, I'm going to let that cook for a couple minutes. The meat still has a little bit more cooking to do, but I'm going to add this because it's starting to thicken up too much. I am adding a whole gallon. So this actually made a bunch, so we're going to eat this with bread and butter or bread and jelly for 1 meal, and then I just put this to put it in the fridge for later in the week. Okay guys, another day and another cheat meal. Let's make it. Okay, so now I just have onion, throwing it in my Instapot. And then I'm going to grab these 2 pounds of pinto beans. Then I'm just going to add more things after, but I am going to add a couple bay leaves while this is cooking. Maybe 3. And then after they're done, I'll add some more things. So I'm going to grab some, you can use broth or water. I'm using broth because for me, it's pretty much free. So I'm just going to use it, add some nutrition to it. So that's what I'm going to do. So this is actually pork broth just because it was in front. You can use chicken broth or you could use beef stock. And I'm going to add a little bit more. You want it about an inch and a half above the beans. That's good there. Let's put the lid on. Oh, I don't have it plugged in. Maybe I do have it plugged in. Oh, she has it plugged in the wrong spot. Some outlets here work, some do not. Okay, so we are going to do pressure cook. There we go. It's already on 55 and we're good. Make sure the lid is off. I mean on, yes. For me, I'm going to set a timer for myself. In half an hour, I am going to start some rice. So I took the kids for a walk in between that. And I'm going to start the rice now. The beans are done and we're going to make rice. I love the Instapot for that. I used to actually have 2 Instapots, and then one I would put rice and one I'd put beans in. That worked great, but we're just gonna do it in a pot. Okay, I have a helper, and she is going to, what are you gonna do? Help me?
Yeah.
We're gonna do 4 cups of rice. Can you do that?
Mom did 1, 2, 3.
So as we both saw, I'm gonna put a 1/2 cup in, so it was 4 cups. So now we're gonna put 3 quarts of water. I'm just using, the jar looks dirty, and then we'll fill it up again. The jar looks dirty, but it's just from the broth that I put in with the beans. So that's what it is. 2.5 quarts of rice, yes. A big spoon. And then I'm going to just, got 2 butters. I'm gonna take just a little bit of this, and I'm gonna plop that in. You don't have to. I just like gonna stir it, and then we're gonna put the cover on. Ready? And then I have to turn it on, so you have to move the stool. Then I'm going to turn this on. Here are our beans. I am going to take the bay leaves, usually go right on the top. I see 2 of them there. Then we're gonna add some. You can add so many things to these. It really just depends on your mood. So for us tonight, what I am going to do is, we love adding salsa to this. That would be so yummy. Tonight though, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add some salt. I'm going to add that other 1/2 stick of butter. Okay guys, I am going to add a little bit of chili powder. Probably like 1/2 teaspoon. Probably like a teaspoon of paprika. I'm gonna add a bunch of abdoo. Abdoo is just garlic, salt, and onion powder, or garlic and onion powder. I don't even think it has salt in it. And black pepper and oregano and turmeric. All right, let me do that. I need to get my spoon, and I do have a bunch of garlic, so let's stir this in. So I'm gonna add some, actually, before I add that, I'm gonna stir some of this butter in. So yummy, guys. All right, then I'm gonna add some of my homemade garlic.
Can I do that, Mom?
3 and 4. Then I'm gonna stir this in. Oh, there's my other bay leaf right there on the edge now. And we're gonna stir this in and wait for our rice. And while we're doing that, I am gonna make some toast. I have my bread, just plain old bread here, and then I have my garlic and oil that's mixed together, and I am just gonna put that on top of all of the bread. And then I'm gonna put this under the broiler for just a minute and let it toast up. Then we're gonna have garlic bread with the rice and beans. I don't know, I think I had broccoli planned for this, but I actually have some zucchini. So I think I'm gonna do like a zucchini stir fry with this. But when I bought those items, I planned on doing broccoli with this. So go ahead and make the broccoli to go with this. And there we go, rice, beans, and toast. Okay, so we just finished up the rice and beans, and I'm gonna take my leftover beans, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dasher blender those and add a little additional garlic. There we go. And then I'm just gonna take my dasher blender. Just like that, and then I'll cover this over and this will be ready for tomorrow. Okay, so we're going to use those beans from last night and my corn tortillas. My daughter is grating 2 of those sticks of cheese. So here's the bowl here with the refried beans. Putting it in there, and my daughter's gonna throw some cheese on here. Sorry, I was busy folding it in different ways to see if it actually would fold the other way, but these are corn tortillas, not flour tortillas. So we're gonna do them like this, and we're gonna do a bunch of these. Okay, so we have 30 of them here, still have cheese left, still have half the beans left, so we can actually make 60 of them. I'm gonna make 30 for tonight and then have the 2 salads to go with that. So I just throw them in the oven so the cheese will melt on there. They're just gonna be in there for like 5 minutes. Okay, so my daughter, we're actually making something else for church, but my daughter has water in these 2 pots. One is for the noodles, and then this, we actually had some zucchini and summer squash and onion. You do not have to do all this. We have onion left, so you could just do onion and hamburger, but we're gonna saute this up real quick. Yeah. So this I am going to add some seasoning. So I'm gonna throw some oregano in here. And some salt. And some pepper. A little bit more. Stir that up. We have these 4 boxes left, so we're gonna cook these 4 boxes. So the other night, my daughter cooked this, and then we needed to go out because we were going to make this, so we actually skipped a day. And so this just is the 1 pound of hamburger with onions. Gonna dump that right in here. And then my daughter already has the noodles cooked, so we are going to stir this in and then add 3 jars of spaghetti sauce. Can you open that jar? Thank you. Then we'll just add a little bit of water in here, rinse it out. Don't want to waste it. You probably know this, but the secret of a good tomato sauce is sugar. So I'm just putting maybe like a tablespoon of sugar in this whole batch. I mean, if you don't want to, you can put like keto sugar in if you wanted. Thank you. Now I'm gonna dump this into my noodles. Oh my goodness, doesn't that look yummy? I'm hungry, can you tell? So I only have 1 pound of hamburger, and this is 4 12-ounce boxes of pasta, and you do not have to have the zucchini and stuff like I did. I just happened to have that, so I added it to it because I didn't want it to go to waste. But yeah, this is so good. I actually have 2 sticks of cheese left. If I wanted to use that on here, I could use that as well and make it into a casserole, but I think we're saving the 2 sticks of cheese for a whole nother batch of those bean burritos, because I had enough to do 2 whole meals of bean burritos because I had 60 tortillas and we only ate 30 per meal. Okay guys, so that was a great week. We got 7 full meals, and then we actually ended up having a leftover day from all the leftovers from the week because we were able to do the bean burritos for 2 days. So that helped us out for the rest of the week. So we had a leftover day, so we actually did 8 days. Plus, I had that extra pork, which I'm gonna use. We're gonna do an eat from the pantry challenge type thing next week, and that's gonna be one of my meals in that. So I hope you all have a blessed and wonderful week, and let me know down in the comments below some of your favorite frugal meals. Thanks so much. Bye.